Up is standing twist. Your feet will be about hip width apart, holding the cane out in front of you, and just rotate from side to side, nice and easy, back and forth for about 10 repetitions. The next stretch is bend and hold. You're going to bring the cane up overhead, bending first to the left, stretching the muscles of the side and the lats, then over to the right, taking time to breathe and relax into each stretch. Up and over backwards, and watch your balance here, and then over forward. And sir, I'll have you turn to the side. On this one, you have the option of bringing the cane around behind your calves for a gentle assisted stretch, but be cautious. You don't want to really load the spine in this flexed posture. When you come up from bend and hold, you can bring the cane up behind you and lightly stretch the shoulders to the back. You'll notice that he's keeping the shoulders squeezed back and tight with that shoulder right over the center of the socket. On this one, you can even get a better stretch if you prop the cane up on something, keeping the chest up tall, shoulders squeezed back, and even to dip down deeper by bending the knees. The next is wrist stretches. We do these in 4 different positions. The first starts palm down, fingers down, and with the opposite hand, you're going to draw the palm towards you. This stretches the wrist extensors, and all the muscles that control the wrist are actually found in the forearm, so you're going to feel it stretch all across here. We hold a stretch for about 30 seconds, and then you have the option of bending at the elbow, back and forth. The next position is palm down, fingers up, and you're going to capture the thumb as well on this one. This stretches the wrist flexors underneath the forearm, and you'll feel it pull underneath. Again, holding and then bending. The next position is palm up, fingers up, holding first and then bending. Go ahead. And then finally, palm up, fingers down, holding, then bending. The next part of the warm-up is cane rotations, holding the cane out in front of you and gently supporting your wrist with the opposite hand. Just rotate the cane back and forth, nice and easy, about 180 degrees. The key is slow and controlled movement on this one. Remember, we're trying to prepare the tissues by lightly loading them through the range. You don't want to put a lot of power in this and bounce off the end range. Be in control of the movement. After about 10 repetitions, he'll move up to the elbow and try to make a 3/4 turn or 270 degrees before moving up to the shoulder. And here, try to make a full circle or 360 degrees if your range allows. The last part of the warm-up is the single-handed crook drill. Starting with the cane at the tip, you're going to strike downward at an imaginary target between the ankle and the knee about 5 times before moving up to a target at midsection height. And you're going to repeat that 5 times. And then finally moving up to a target head high, repeated 5 times. The last strike is actually a combination strike. He's going to strike to the head on one side, rotate around, strike the same target from the opposite side, and then an overhead strike. And he's going to repeat that combination for 5 repetitions. The single-handed crook drill is a really important part of the warm-up because it helps begin to develop a muscle endurance of the whole shoulder girdle and the arm in a very integrated way. And it also helps you develop control and accuracy in your striking. Ways to scale this movement at the beginning, if you need to, are to choke up on the cane. That puts a little less weight on the end of it. If that's still too hard, you can flip the cane around and strike with the tip end. And remember that for all of these stretches, you should repeat on both sides, left and right. Remember to do this series of warm-up exercises before every training session. Additionally,
cane's in the right hand. We're going to step back with the left leg. The cane comes up, over, and comes down. You want your head up. Your left hand is open. This is a block. Again, as you're coming up, you don't want to go up this way. You could drive whatever's coming at you up into your groin or your face. So it has to come up, over, stepping back, blocking, down hard. Your head does not go down forward. Your head, keep it up as high as you can. Good solid front stance on this one here. One more time. Up, over, down, hit. Okay, left-handed. From here, stepping back with the right leg, up and over, downward block. Up, over, downward block.
A double-handed high block is performed from a natural grip. The first thing that you do is bring it up to your other palm, rotate your arms up in front of you, and then block upward so it clears your head, basically parallel with the floor. Notice that my fingers are bent backwards and my palm is in the middle of the cane and is what is supporting it. As I do this technique, I step back into a front stance. Drop your foot back and block upward. You'll notice that the foot that is being left forward as I do this technique is the same side of my body of the hand that's fully holding the cane. The other hand is there for support. And that's the standardization for the stances. Drop back and block upward. From a side view, you'll notice as I drop back that this is close to my body. I did not block up and out. When I do that, you'll see my fingers rise up above the length of the cane. I want this back in this position. Let's see this technique from the left hand. I'd raise up, drop back with the other foot, and block overhead. And this is a double-handed high block.
The torso block is used to defend between the hip and the head. Starting with the natural grip, bring the cane tip up until the shaft is parallel with your body. Reinforce with the opposite hand, fingertips up. Sidestep with the reverse leg, leaving the lead leg out for a lead side torso block. My right hand is controlling the cane, so my right leg is considered to be the lead leg. Make sure that your supporting hand is completely protected behind the plane of the shaft and block to the side. In the opposite hand, my left leg is now the lead leg. And that is the torso block on the lead side.
This technique is a reverse torso block. You saw in a torso block that as you execute the technique, the hand that's holding the cane is forward with the foot. In a reverse torso block, we step the other direction as we do the technique. The hand that's holding the cane is opposite from the stance, and then the other hand supports. The elbow stays behind the cane. I never let it go in front. So a torso block is demonstrated as this. Notice I'm sidestepping out of the way of the attack, coming up from the outside of my body and blocking across. Also notice I'm not only using the wrist. I'm not simply flicking the cane up. I'm using my whole arm. It comes up, and my arm drives across my body to put power into the technique. One more time. Let's see this with the left hand. Step to the other side, raises up, comes across, and blocks. And that technique is reverse torso block.
A low block. Low block against someone coming at my right leg. Cane comes up, over, I'm going to step back and knock it out of the way. Cane up, over, step back, block. Here we are. Block. Remember your free hand comes up whenever you're doing your technique. Now against the left leg. Again, hand up, stepping back, coming around, blocking it out of the way. You want to step your leg back so they can't hit it. The cane is just an extra device to get that weapon out of the way, or arm, or whatever he's trying to hit you with down there. Come around, arm up, down, and block. Low block, left side.
The single-handed low block is used to defend against any low attack, starting from the natural grip, bring the cane up to the outside, palm up, and down towards the inside or towards your center line. Up to the outside, down to the inside. This looks exactly like a #1 strike, but in this case you're blocking something out of the way. From the side view, Remember to keep the other hand up in a guard position. And in the left hand, now my lead leg is my left leg. Stepping back into a front stance with the reverse leg, leaving the lead leg forward. And that is the single-handed low block towards the inside.
This technique is a single-handed high block, also sometimes called an open roof block. This technique is done by stepping forward into a front stance with the other hand as a guard and raising the cane up above your head at an angle. Much of the control for this technique is in this wrist of the hand that's holding it. I can move my wrist and greatly change this angle to where I don't protect my head at all, or I actually change the angle on the cane. So as I practice this, I want to get this angle here, so any attack is shedding to the side. Also notice that my hand is in line basically with my shoulder with a bend in the arm. I'm not locking it up too high, and I'm not pushing it out away from me. I'm not blocking like this, I'm blocking upward. Let's see this technique with the left hand. And that is a single-handed high block.
The fan block is used to defend against any kind of thrusting attack towards the midsection. Starting from the natural grip, bring the cane up towards the inside and down towards the outside in a circular fashion, blocking directly downward onto the attack and leveling the cane to the floor. I'm stepping into a back stance with the reverse leg, leaving the lead leg forward for a lead side fan block. My right hand is controlling the cane, my right leg is the lead leg. From the opposite side, my left leg is now the lead leg. Remember to keep your other hand up in a guard position. And that is the fan block on the lead side.
This technique is a reverse fan block. A fan block and reverse fan block are both fundamental techniques for self-defense. In a fan block, you saw we stepped out to the side and blocked single-handed, same hand, same foot leading. Reversed, then to the other side. Side step, raising up, and blocking down. Again, notice we're using the whole arm, not just the wrist. It's rising up to the outside and down close to me. With the other hand. And that is a reverse fan block.
A parry block. Okay, now on a parry block, the hand comes up. You don't want to have it where it's blocking your eyesight, and all you're trying to do is deflect what's coming at you by a 1/16 of an inch, so it's not going to hit you. If a guy's swinging a baseball bat at you, you don't want to do this technique because you'll be hit by the cane and the bat. So this is just deflecting something that's coming at you. Hand comes up around chin level. That way I don't block my eyesight. I step back with my left leg and parry. Parry block. Parry block. Now, let's do a side view. Same thing. Coming in here, it's coming at me. I'm stepping back and parrying here. You can grip the cane down further a little bit if you like. You don't want to go too much, but you want the hand over here. You do not want to block the eyes. Keep it around chin level is fine. Parry block. Other side, same block. Coming in here, block. Block. Okay, parry block, left hand, protecting the right side. You start off with a cane like this, your hand drops down, other hand up, moving what's coming at you, just redirecting it out of your way so it doesn't hit you. Stepping back with my right leg, left arm up, parry block. Side view, up, stepping back, blocking. Up and block. Other side. Parry block.
Are 12 angled strikes that you should become proficient in. The first set is done with the right hand, and then we repeat it as a mirror image with the left hand. They're all done from a standing stance. A number 1 strike is done from a natural grip from the outside down, low to the side of the knee or ankle. This is palm up. I then bring the cane up around the front of my body and down, palm down, to a number 2 strike. Number 3 comes up, around, and from the side striking into the lower ribs or hip. Number 4 comes up, around, and strikes down to the opposite hip or ribs. Number 5 comes around and strikes palm up to the side of the head. And number 6 comes around and strikes to the opposite side of the head. Let's see the first 6 strikes again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From here, the next strike is an angled strike down to the collarbone. Number 7 comes around, strikes to the opposite side of the body on the collarbone. Notice the angle of the cane and how my hand traveled across my body to make that happen. In practice, I end it here. In practical application, I would follow down and through. So a number 7 strike is right here. Number 8, I come to the opposite lower ribs as an upward strike. Next strike, number 9, down to the opposite collarbone. 10, I bring it around and upward into the lower ribs. A low strike, upward. 11 passes in front of my body into the front, down to here, or I can follow through up higher. I'm striking the groin, or if they are bent over, into the body or the face. And number 12 comes straight down on top of the middle of the head. Those strikes again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, opposite collarbone, 8, lower ribs, 9, collarbone, 10, lower ribs, 11, straight around and up. Notice my thumb side is down. 12, my thumb is up. Same strikes one last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the exact same moves as a mirror image for the left hand. Let's go through that. 1, palm up. 2, palm down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice it's the tip pointing to this direction this time because it's the left hand. 8, lower ribs. 9, collarbone. 10, 11, around to the front of my body and up. And 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Practice those techniques in sequence until you become proficient in them.
The punch set consists of 5 punches. They can be performed either from a lead stance or a reverse stance. The first 2 punches start from the chamber, either horn down or horn up, which allows follow-up tearing techniques. And you should be aware that with these punches to the solar plexus, you will not be locking the elbow. It should remain slightly bent and slightly below the shaft of the cane. If you try to force a lockout, you will injure the inner elbow. The next 2 punches start from a mid-shaft grip with the horn facing you. The first is the vertical punch, coming straight out perpendicular to the floor. And you can see that this orientation of the cane provides a large surface area with the potential to strike several targets simultaneously, all the way from the head to the groin. If one end of the cane should happen to strike first, that's all right, because the recoil at one end actually causes a strike at the other end of the cane, and we call this the vibration effect. The next is the diagonal punch. Very similar, just coming out at an angle. Again, large surface area, striking several targets with the potential for a vibration effect. The last is the horizontal punch, coming straight out, parallel to the floor, with the same benefits. Be aware that if you use these punches on a bag, you will need to protect your hand. The cane not only adds mass to the punch, but it also influences the position of your knuckles and the alignment of your wrist. So use caution and go very slowly at first with bag work. To review the 5 punches on the left, we have horn down, horn up, vertical, diagonal, and horizontal. And that is the punch set.
This next series of techniques are referred to as the poke set. Poke set is done to 8 directions. We always do defensive first, offensive second, and we always do the same order: front, left, right, then back, whether it's in my right hand or my left hand. Let's see the right hand demonstrated first. A poke is done by bringing the other hand up in unison as I raise this cane at my hip. Stepping back, I am going to drive forward with the center part of this tip and recoil. So defensive to the front is right here. You'll notice that as I do this technique, I don't raise the cane up and then try to do a little poke. I step back and I bring this from my hip and I drive it forward and back, aiming for the solar plexus when it's standardized. Also notice which foot is dropping back. In the standard set, I have my hip forward that is the same side as the hand holding the cane. So I drop back, defensive to the front, offensive to the front, defensive to the left, offensive to the left, defensive to the right, offensive to the right, defensive to the back, offensive to the back. I also want you to notice that when I do the front and the left, it comes right from my right hip. Defensive to the front, offensive to the front, defensive to the left, offensive to the left. Now, for the right side and for the back, I need to bring this cane around in unison. In other words, as I step, see how the cane slips around my body as I turn, raises, and then pokes? I don't do this. I don't raise it as I'm turning and then try to poke. This telegraphs the move. It allows it to be easily blocked. Keep it close to you as you turn, as it comes off your hip. Defensive to the right, offensive to the right. Notice that defensive to the back is done by stepping away from the tacker that's coming from behind you, pivoting right into them, and executing the technique. And offensive to the back. One more time. Become proficient with your dominant hand first, and then make sure you practice the other hand. The left hand, we do the exact same steps. So from the left hand, I'm going to do this, but notice that the other foot drops back this time because the hand and the hip are supposed to be in unison. Defensive to the front, offensive to the front, defensive to the left, offensive to the left, defensive to the right, offensive to the right, defensive to the back, turning the opposite direction, offensive to the back. One last time. And that is the poke set.
Here, we're going to do a side twirl. Okay, now a side twirl, you want to grab the cane by the crook. You want to have the horn on the inside. And as you turn it, it comes towards the back of your head. So it's from here this way. You don't want to practice this way. Mainly for safety, because if you keep practicing, you're going to smack yourself in the face. Because you're probably going to hit yourself in the back of the head once in a while just doing it this way. But you want to be careful. You don't want to have your arm tweaked in here where it's not going to work, and the horn has to be on the inside. So it's from here to here. Go slowly to start with, because if you have your arm in the wrong place at the elbow, it's going to block what you're doing. If your elbow's out too far, you're going to hit yourself. If it's in too far, you're going to hit yourself here. So get your arm nice and parallel, straight here. Right, bend at the elbow here, and go towards the back of your head. If you're worried about it, you can put your thumb and your pointing finger together right in here. That'll keep it from ever leaving your hand, and you can get it going as quick as you like. And we have to do it left-handed. Switch hands, come over this side. Side twirl, once again, horn on the inside. Side twirl towards the back. Try to learn how to do this as quick as you can. Go, go, go. You'll even notice your horn getting up hot here. Nice and easy.
For the American cane system are referred to as CT techniques, which stands for cane technique. Cane technique 1 defends against a right punch. I step forward, execute a knife hand block, followed by a punch with the cane, on the other hand returning to the chamber. Let's see this technique demonstrated. Throws the punch, she knife hand blocks, punching, returning the other hand to the chamber. Let's see that again. And one more time with the right hand. Knife hand block and punch to the solar plexus. Good, let's switch hands. That has the cane, and the attacker now falls back with the other arm as the attack, as a mirror image. Block and punch to the solar plexus. Let's look at this side one more time. Good, nicely demonstrated. That technique is CT1. Practice it with a partner and without a partner.
This self-defense technique is CT2. Let's take a look at it. It's a defensive move against a lunge punch. If you'll come in and let's demonstrate this. She drops back. Here's the punch. There's the block. The block is between the wrist and the elbow. Then the strike to the knee, then pivot around behind and a strike to the head. Let's see it again, just a little bit faster with more flow. Block, strike, strike. One more time. Block, strike, strike. Now let's see it with the left hand. Back up just a little bit more. Here we go. Go. Block, strike, strike. One more time. Block, strike, strike. Nicely done. That's CT2. It's a counter against a lunge punch.
CT3 is a defense against a double lapel grab. Let's see first how to practice this without a partner. He'll bring the cane up to the outside and down onto his attacker's wrist, pulling down hard, following up with a double-handed shaft strike straight out to the head. Let's see this demonstrated with a partner. He brings it down on the forearms of the wrists, and the pull has the effect of bringing his attacker downward and inward toward him and sets up for the shaft strike straight out to the head or the neck. Let's see that again. And one more time. Good. In the left hand now. And one more time. Good. And that is technique CT3. This segment will explain the center kick.
From Chumbi, the first motion is to lower the cane to the floor by allowing it to pivot freely in your hand. Then lower your hand down the cane by sliding it into a natural grip and execute the first technique to the left, which is a double-handed low block, low strike, and a driving technique. Notice that the double-handed low block is with an open palm, but the strike is with a grab. Pivoting the feet, there's a parry block with a reversal. Moving up the eye, the next two techniques here are a number 2 strike followed by a number 12 strike, all from the same side of the body. As you rotate into the next move, there's a knife hand block and a strike to the leg followed by that driving motion. Notice on that pivot that the cane is raised to the shoulder in preparation for the strike. That move right there is an upward strike followed by a leverage technique followed by CT2, which is the fan block, low strike, strike to the back of the head with a guard. Now, to transition to the next half of this kata, step forward, putting the cane in the other hand, and step out to your right, executing the mirror image of the same exact techniques. Both left and right side of the kata need to be done in succession to have done the entire kata. You'll notice that every time that that cane is brought up on the lower part of the kata, it rotates in front of the body. There is a step with a single-handed high block, and again, a number 2 strike followed by a number 12 strike. Notice here again, as he rotates, there's a knife hand block followed by the low strike to the knee. It occurs, however, almost simultaneously. Block, strike, rotating that cane up by rotating the wrist for the drive. There's the leverage technique with the only back stance in the kata, a fan block, a number 2 strike, and the number 12 strike that completes CT2. And then we stand forward to chamber the cane underneath the arm. And that is the last move of Reflection 1. Side view for Reflection 1. Again, we have the same series of moves, and here we can clearly see that windshield wiper motion of the cane. There's the pivot with the parry block and the reversal of the cane. Again, notice the flow at the top of this kata, which is making an I pattern, that cane rotates up between you and them. There's that upward strike into an extension, followed by CT2. Stepping forward for the left side of the kata. Again, notice right here, there's a transition to get to that double-handed low block. After that strike, as you turned on the bottom of the eye, you needed to let go with the other hand in order to free it up, in order to do that double-handed low block. Here we're going to see going down the eye, the pivot of the feet with that upward strike across the body to the shoulder, and then the last 3 moves again, CT2. Stepping up, and Chumbi. In the back view of the kata, we can clearly see the rotation of the first 3 moves in front of the body close with the driving technique. Notice how the stances are switched here. Going up the eye, we have simply a pivot of the feet and hips, squaring off the body to go up. Here, the back leg comes around to form a new front stance for the next move. To turn here, the back leg slides over, becoming the new front leg and stepping. Here's the pivot, the only back stance in the kata on that move, and then a series of front stances stepping around on the last technique, and then forward to put it in the other hand. Again, double-handed low block, stepping out to the right into a front stance. Back leg slides over to adopt the next stance. To go up the eye, it's a pivot of the feet, and then stepping up the eye. Back leg comes around to become the new front leg at the top of the eye, and then the back leg is going to go over to form the next stance. Going down the eye is a pivot of the feet for that strike upward and extension, and then the last 3 moves are CT2. Stepping forward into Chumbi, that is Reflection 1. In this segment, we're going to go over some of the subtleties to clarify some of the techniques for Reflection 1. In the very beginning of the kata, there's a windshield wiper motion with the wrist, where my wrist turns palm down, palm up, and palm down. So in the first motion of the kata, as you step to the left, we're blocking palm down, rotating the forearm and the wrist, palm up, and then rotating it back close to us, palm down for the grab. And bringing this back up between you and the attacker is important for the step and the lunge. Second motion is the transition as you turn. As I turn, I let this cane naturally fall, and this other hand release it, so it's already prepared to come back up, around, and down for this block. For the third clarification, as you come up the eye and you are at this high block, as you step, it comes directly from overhead to a side strike down to the knee, then followed by the overhead strike. Next, this next move is a knife hand block. So as you rotate around, this guard rotates and does a knife hand block simultaneous with the strike. From here, once you've grabbed and driven into this attacker, as I turn, I can release this cane right now and rotate it right behind me so it's already in place for the block and the strike. Going down the eye, after I've done this lunge at the top of the eye and I pivot, this is an upward strike at a diagonal from across the body to this shoulder. And as I step, this hand comes to the chamber. And it is the only time in the kata that you will see this hand come to the chamber. The rest of the kata, the hand is in the guarded position.
In this segment, we'll go through the practical applications of reflection number 1. We'll only be demonstrating the techniques with the right hand, though it would be the same as a mirror image in the left. The first attacker comes in from the left. He blocks, strikes to the knee, and drives the attacker away. The moves would be the same on the other side for the attacker coming in from behind. For the next attacker coming at you from down the eye, we'll have first Grandmaster Crandall turn and face the camera so you can see this better. The third attacker comes in, he turns and blocks, turns the hand over, and here realize in the practical application of in a real self-defense situation, he would execute the strike without stepping. But in the kata, we take the step, he strikes to the head and drives the third attacker off the line of the kata. The next attacker comes in, he does a high block, a strike, and again, in a real self-defense situation, he would execute the next strike immediately, but for the purposes of the kata, he's going to take a step to execute the strike. So Grandmaster Crandall has ended at the top of the eye. Now I'm going to turn him to face the camera again so you can see the next two sequences. He turns to defend against attacker number 5, blocks, strikes, and drives him away. Turning to the opposite side, to the next attacker to do the same sequence. I'm going to have Grandmaster Crandall angle himself to the camera so you can see this next sequence. Attacker number 7 comes in, he blocks, breaks the elbow, shaft to the neck, and here in a practical application he would bring the cane all the way down to the floor for a takedown. As he steps, he's getting ready to perform the fan block. For the sequence for the 8th and final attacker in the kata, I'm going to have Grandmaster Crandall turn to the side so you can see this better. The 8th attacker comes in, fan block, strike to the leg as he's moving past, turns his body, executes an overhead strike to the head.
That's Reflections 1. I know you're going to enjoy it, and I'm hoping that you find other American Cane Systems students
are holding the cane behind you vertically and pulling up with the top hand. This stretches the shoulder joint into internal rotation, which is a range that's limited in many people. You may even find that you have a difference from side to side. Let me turn you sideways, sir. And you'll notice that he's not allowing the shoulder to fall forward into the joint on this one. He's keeping it back. By reversing the motion and pulling down with the bottom hand, he can stretch the triceps of the top of the upper arm. To stretch into more external rotation of the shoulder joint, he can hold the cane horizontally behind him, palm down, and raise the cane with straight arms Again, he's keeping the shoulder centered over the socket and squeezing the shoulder blades together at the back. And finally, we have full shoulder rotations. This mobilizes the shoulder joint through a very large range of motion. And remember to go both ways. And if you can't go all the way down to the back, just go as far as you can and then reverse the motion, working to increase your range over time. To increase the intensity of the warm-up, the single-handed crook drill may now be progressed to include 10 repetitions of each strike. At this level, you may also include the low, middle, and high strikes to the opposite side by circling overhead and hitting the same target in the opposite direction. Remember, this drill is not only part of a warm-up, but also allows you to practice control and accuracy in your striking and gradually builds muscle endurance. To stretch the major muscle groups of the legs, first use the crook to pull the foot up behind you to stretch the quadriceps at the front of the thigh. For each stretch, you should hold for 30 seconds, and for best results, repeat 2 to 3 times on each side. The next stretch is in a lunging position with the back leg bent. This stretches the soleus muscle, which is a deep muscle of the calf, and you can see that he's trying to keep his back heel down and press forward. The same stretch with the back leg locked stretches the gastrocnemius, which is the major muscle group of the calf. That's the one we usually think of that makes up the structure of the calf. Again, pressing forward with the back foot down. The same stretch actually stretches the hip flexors at the front of the same hip. And another option that you have here is to slide down into a kneeling lunge. And you want to make sure that you don't arch your back or let your pelvis tilt forward. Rather, keep your abdominals on tight and concentrate on pressing forward to this front corner at the hip. And finally, to stretch the hamstrings at the back of the thigh. This is best done by laying on the ground and using your crook to pull the straight leg up. This stretch can also be done from a standing or a seated position, but the floor provides not only support for the spine, it also prevents you from cheating by leaning forward at the spine. There are 2 grips for which we hold the cane in the center of the shaft. The first is called the mid-shaft grip. This has the horn of the cane facing forward. The other is the reverse mid-shaft grip, also called the punch grip, as we perform some punches with the cane in this orientation. And those are the 2 grips where we hold the cane in the center of the shaft.
The stance we're going over right now is called the horse stance. Both feet are faced.
Starting from the natural grip, bring the cane shaft up to meet the opposite hand, step back with the reverse leg, and block upwards at an angle. The cane is not only angled about 45 degrees from the floor, but also 45 degrees backwards. Take care to make sure that your opposite hand is completely protected behind the plane of the shaft. And for this block, I'm leaving my lead leg out, which is my right leg right now. When the tip is down and the crook is up, this is referred to as an open double-handed diagonal block. You can think of it as being open-ended. If something is blocked and just deflected down the shaft, it goes right off the end. In the opposite hand, my left leg is now the lead leg. I step back with a reverse. And that is the open double-handed diagonal block. The closed diagonal block is very similar to the open version, but in this case you step back with the lead leg, leaving the reverse leg out. Block upwards at an angle, making sure that your opposite hand is completely protected behind the cane. When the crook is down and the tip is up, this is referred to as a closed double-handed diagonal block. This version of the block is not recommended against a downward weapons attack because as the weapon is deflected down the shaft of the cane, the hand that's controlling the cane is vulnerable to injury. In the opposite hand, my left leg is now the lead leg, stepping back with the left leg. And that is the closed double-handed diagonal block.
This technique is called a brace block and is done from a crook grip. It's used to intercept a sudden attack. You step back into a back stance. The hand that's holding the cane rotates, palm up, allowing the cane to rotate in it. It raises it up in front of you. The other hand supports it down near the base. Notice the height of the cane right now is about high enough to protect my head, allowing the rest of it to extend down and protect my lower ribs and hip. I'm not pinching hard on this cane. I am holding it to support it so it doesn't wiggle. I don't want to grab it all the way like this if I can help it, because it exposes more of my fingers. I want to pinch it here. For a brace block, I step back, raise this up close to me to the outside of my arm, and support from below. One of the things that will allow you to do this is to allow it to pivot freely in your hand and to not try to force the cane up, but simply to try to raise your hand to the ceiling quickly. By raising your hand up, the cane will follow, and then you support as it comes up. Notice again the height of the cane. I don't want to do this. I'll obscure my vision, and I don't want it down too low. I don't protect my face. This can also be used to prevent an attack from an angle. If they're throwing some sort of hooking punch like a haymaker, as it comes up, I can then divert this to a side or another side by shifting my body as a block. Let's see this with the left hand. I drop back, raise the cane, and support. Again, notice my hand rotates, comes close to my body, and it's a straight line up. I don't want to raise it away from me and then try to pull it back to me. And that is a brace block.
The post block can be used when you're caught off guard against a low attack or against an attacker rushing in. Starting from the crook grip, place the cane forward, but close enough to allow you to still apply some pressure through the shaft. Slide your lead foot forward and brace it against the tip of the cane. If you have footwear on, you can use the ball of your foot, but as you can see, with bare feet, this still leaves some toes vulnerable to injury. So another option is to brace with the blade of the foot. From the side view, the crook of the cane is slightly forward, my elbow is in, and my entire body is braced behind the shaft of the cane. This stops the forward momentum of the attack, and it would be followed up by strikes. So in the left hand, again, bring your opposite hand up in a guard, plant the tip, and brace the tip. Or plant the tip, brace the tip with the blade of the foot. And that is the post block.
This technique is called a reverse single-handed high block, sometimes referred to as a closed roof block. It's done from a natural grip, and often we're stepping forward at an angle as we do this technique to block to the side. As we practice this in a standard, we step backwards to allow the hips to rotate and to get this shoulder forward more naturally. As I raise the cane up, my palm comes close to me, and I raise it up overhead. And you'll notice that I make almost a triangle in this area as I clear my head for this angle. Other hand does come up as a guard. I drop back, I rotate the hand close to me, raising it up and overhead. Notice how I'm lowering the cane. As I bring it up, the tip always lags. As I lower it, the tip is the first thing to go down close to me. This is important if I start working with a partner, that I don't lower it this way, bringing it down almost in a striking motion. From the left hand, I step back, raising it up to the other side. And a side view. And this is a reverse single-handed high block.
We're doing a broom block, or a sweep. The person's attacking my left leg at this time. When you being attacked with someone, the first thing you should do is drop that hand down onto the shaft a little bit, at least about an inch. Depends on what's comfortable to you. I kind of go down a little bit further than an inch. I feel I have more control. But do what's comfortable to you. The second part is the other hand comes up and it's going to grab it. You don't want to grab down here. You don't have much distance here to do the broom or the sweep. You don't want to have it too close. You don't have any strength. I like it to be about 1 fist apart. That's where it should be. You have the most strength right here. So this technique here, the guy is trying to hit my left leg. I have the cane in my right hand. I'm going to drop my hand down the shaft, step low, and I want to keep the tip no higher than an inch off the floor. You don't do it this way. It's all down about an inch from the floor. It's a low broom block, protecting the left leg. Step back, sweep. Step back, sweep. Now, they're going after my right leg. My cane's in my right hand. It's coming from this angle. I'm going to step out of the way, block it. My hand comes down, 1 fist apart. Protecting the right leg. Right leg goes back, and I block whatever's coming at me. Left-handed. Person's coming after my right leg. Hand drops down, cane comes over, I grab, and I sweep. Again, broom block. Left hand, right leg. Cane's in the left hand. Cane drops down, grab, block. A side view. Left-handed, trying to hit my right leg, block. Trying to hit my left leg, block. Other side. Broom block. Right-handed, drop the hand down, sit back, block. Trying to hit my left leg, drop down, block. You had to bend your knees a little bit to keep that tip about 1 inch off the floor. You don't want to stay straight or anything. You have to make sure that the tip doesn't come up off the floor over an inch. Broom block.
This technique is called a parry block, and it's a redirection of a technique from a few inches off your center line in order to allow you to counter. This technique is done by dropping back, raising your hand up from a natural grip, and bringing it from shoulder to shoulder. Or, if you want to think about it, from hip to hip. And that's done in unison of rotating your hips as you drop back. Dropping back like this also makes me a smaller target. Right now my entire body is facing to the front of the attacker. As I step back, I become a narrower target, and I redirect that with some circular motion. This technique will not feel powerful initially, but is very effective with its circular motion. Again, notice that as I do this technique, I don't do it so high that my arm obscures my vision. I don't want to do it up here. Other hand comes up as a guard. With the other hand, shoulder to shoulder. One more time. And that is a parry block.
The swing strike travels from the tip on the floor through your chosen target toward the opposite hip. The strike can be of any height, but initially it's easiest to practice to a higher target. The swing strikes may be practiced either from a crook grip or a reverse crook grip, and you should practice them both ways. The swing set is a drill that allows you to practice your swing strikes in all 4 directions, both offensively and defensively. We move always in a set pattern, first to the front, then the left, the right, and the back, always performing the defensive strike first by stepping backwards, followed by the offensive strike stepping forwards. Footwork is important, and all of the strikes are done in back stances with the lead leg forward. So if I'm working with the cane in my right hand, I'll always step in such a way as to leave my right leg in front. So we have towards the front, defensive, stepping back, right leg forward. Offensive, stepping forward, right leg forward. To the left, defensive, stepping back, right leg forward, offensive, stepping forward, right leg forward. To the right, defensive, stepping back, right leg forward, offensive, stepping forward, right leg forward. To the back, defensive, stepping back, and offensive, stepping forward. You'll notice that sometimes the cane is traveling across my body with the palm side leading. That's called a forehand strike. And sometimes with the back of my hand leading, which is called a backhand strike. Where these movements occur in the pattern is merely a side effect of taking the shortest path from where the tip is on the floor through the target. So with the cane in my right hand right now, to strike to my right produces a backhand strike. You should also try to practice not stopping the motion of the strike by allowing the cane to hit your body, but rather learn how to control the motion of the cane through the pressure of your hand and the movement of your body. So on the left, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that is the swing set.
These techniques are the double-handed jab set, very similar to a single-handed poke. In this case, the leading leg is the same as the hand that's closest to doing the jab. In the double-handed jab set, the one hand near the crook is palm down, the other hand is palm up, allowing us to have more extension and reach. You can do these techniques both palm down, but it does change the technique. For this set, it's palm up. These are all done from a front stance. With the 8 angles, we have defensive to the front, offensive to the front, defensive to the left, offensive to the left, defensive to the right, offensive to the right, defensive to the back, and offensive to the back. One thing to note as you demonstrate these techniques is that I want a penetration in and a penetration out. Make sure you also know where the other end of your crook is. You don't want to turn it inward and hook yourself with your own crook. Make sure you know where that is at all times. Also, make sure that your shoulders are over your hip, that you don't lean forward with this. I want to jab with this technique, but I want my shoulders over my hips. One more time with this hand. And that's a double-handed jab set with the right hand. Let's see it once with the left hand. And that's the double-handed jab set.
Now we're going to do the holster. The holster is doing with a side twirl, but to get started, hold the cane down. What you're trying to do to start with to get into a holster, just bring the shaft up into your armpit. From the ground to here. Ground, straight in. Same thing with the left hand, up, holster. Up, holster. Now, holster after side twirl, a little side twirl, which you've already learned. Turn the cane up, over, suck it in. Try and do this slow for you so you can see it. A little side here, side. To holster it, I'm going to turn my wrist all the way over and suck this in. So the horn is down on this one. Now, most of the time you'd like your holster to be up so you can use it. We'll go into that in a later video here. Side twirl, holster. Side twirl, holster. Left-handed. Side twirl, holster. Once again, bringing it in, sucking it in here. And I'll do a side one so you can see it this way. side twirl, turning your hand over, holster. Holstering your weapon. Figure 8. It's an important move. It keeps people away from you. It's easy to do, to learn. You want to start out with your hands in a pretty good grip on the crook, and then make a nice lazy 8. Go back and forth, and then after this feels halfway comfortable, loosen your palm grip just a little bit, and there you go. There's a figure 8. Get it going as fast as you feel safe with, because you can lose this if you're not careful. So nice figure 8. Slow it back down again. Okay, and you want to do it with both hands. Now the easiest way to change over to your other hand is just put your hand out like you're clapping your hands together and switch hands. Figure 8. If you haven't done a figure 8 with your left hand, you're nervous, practice with it first. Tight grip, lazy figure 8. Make it so it feels somewhat comfortable. Loosen the grip. Figure 8. Switching hands. Hands together, grab, and down. Grab, down. Now you've done figure 8. We've already done side twirls. Bring it back to a side twirl. Side twirl, figure 8. Switch hands, figure 8. Side twirl, figure 8. Figure 8, side twirl. Now your holster, you're doing a side twirl. Suck it in. Again, figure 8, side twirl. You turn it over. I'll do it slow as I can for you. Side view, side, figure 8, side, holster. Now I can also holster it right after a figure 8. Practice with this. It's a lot of fun. Left-handed, figure 8, side, holster. Side twirl, figure 8, side twirl, holster. It's a great technique, and it keeps people away from you. That if you have 1 or 2 people and you start doing a side twirl and a figure 8, they're going to figure out that this is not a crutch.
This next series of techniques is known as the double-handed crook set, and there are 6 techniques that we need to look at. The first one is a low strike. All the double-handed strikes involve both hands on the cane. The first hand is controlling the cane, is closest to the crook. The other hand supporting it is underneath. You step forward with your lead leg, striking low to the base of the calf or ankle. And as I step back, I rotate this cane a quarter turn so the crook is towards the floor. And I'm doing this motion, strike and pull. Strike and pull back. I'm always pulling back to my opposite hip. The leg that's forward is the same hand as closest to the crook. That's considered the controlling hand, and the other one is in support of it. The reason I'm turning this a quarter turn is to lock that on to the base of the leg as I pull straight back. From a side view, notice my shoulders don't dip too far in front of my hips, and I pull back. The second strike is a mid-range strike to the ribs, pull straight back to the hip. Always step with these strikes and pull with these strikes to the hip. Once from the side. Next one is a high strike to the side of the head. Striking and pulling. Striking and pulling, always to the hip. In practical application, if you strike somebody in the head, you're probably not going to actually hook them here. But if they bring up an arm or a weapon to defend themselves, as you do this, you may hook that and pull that free, allowing you for a counter. The next one is downward at a 45-degree angle, where the crook extends beyond their body to the back of their shoulder blade, their scapula, and I pull them down at an angle. I step and I strike. Notice the angle on the cane. I maintain that angle as I pull. I don't allow it to dip downward. Strike and pull. For the last two, I have to change my hand grip. The first one, I start with a natural grip. This is the hand controlling the cane. and the next one supports up high. This is a groin tear. I step forward, coming from my back hip, which clears my body, to the middle, and allows me to lift upward. I do not need to lift extremely high. I simply need to reach and pull it up a few inches. Reach and pull. From a side view, reach and pull. The last technique of this set is done underneath the chin. My other hand supports underneath. I step forward and I strike up at a 45-degree angle. It's helpful when you're doing this one to not try to strike with the tip, but to watch this. I slide my cane forward, and as I watch that tip, this will automatically find its target. It's important to note that for every single one of these techniques, I'm not trying to hook with this initially. There's an initial impact with the base of the shaft or the upper part of the shaft that then strikes and slides into place. So when I strike here, I am striking to the lower base of the calf with this section of the cane and pulling it into place. Let's see all these techniques demonstrated once with the right hand. And let's see them demonstrated once with the left hand. Other foot is going to lead on every single technique. Left hand supports, right hand holds, opposite foot forward. Right hand underneath, left foot forward. And those are the double-handed crook strikes.
This next technique is a pop-up crook to the neck. We're going to be doing here, the cane's in my right hand. Now you can have the cane horn in, horn out, or towards your partner, or towards you. Setting it down here, pop-up is just lifting it up here and grabbing it about midway in the cane here. You can do it with the horn towards your opponent, or holding the cane normal way, pop up. You're still going to want that horn towards your opponent when you're doing this. You're going to be coming along to his left side, and you're going to grab the back of the neck, coming in here with a chop. So with the horn facing you, it's pop up, hit, chop as you're pulling in here. So you're pulling and chopping at the same time. With the horn towards the rear, same thing. Pop up. As you're popping it up, give it a little turn towards my opponent. Striking the side of the neck, pulling in. When I feel his neck grab in there, he can't go back. This is a pretty powerful move here. I am chopping at his face. One more time, or two more times. Horn towards the opponent, pop it up, strike, chop. Horn towards the rear, pop up, hit, pull. Same thing, left-handed. Cane's in the left hand. You're going to pop it up. You're going to be hitting his other side, coming in with a chop. Horn towards the partner, pop up, striking that neck as hard as you can, striking here. You don't want to do anything 10%, 20%, always at 110%. Pop up, strike, strike. Horn towards the rear, pop up, strike, strike. Pop up with the crook to the side of the neck. We're going to be doing a pop-up crook with an elbow. Cane's in the right hand. Once again, we're going to do a pop-up. As we come through here, we're going to strike the neck on your right side, your partner's left, coming in with an elbow. So as we pop up, you can do it with the cane forward, with the horn forward or backwards. So if the cane is toward, the horn is towards the rear, you lift it up, pop. Most of the time you give it a little twirl so you know where that horn is, and it's going to be going towards the partner. You're going to strike the partner in the neck. When you feel that neck touching the bottom part of the crook here, that's when you start bringing that elbow in. You're still pulling and meeting the elbow here to the person's face. To show it again here, horn towards the opponent, pop up, hit, elbow. horn to the rear, pop up, hit, elbow. Left-handed, same way. As you pop up here, whether the horn's here or there, you're going other side, elbow. Horn towards the opponent, up, hit, elbow. You're grabbing the person's neck here. Horn towards the rear, pop up, hitting the side of the neck, coming in, elbow. Pop up quick with an elbow. I want to talk to you about repetition. It is so important. I don't think you can practice enough. A little quick story. A good friend of mine, Bill Wallace, undefeated champion of the world, and I were talking together, and a little kid came up, not a kid, he was probably about 18, and said, "Mr. Wallace, how many kicks do I have to do a perfect front kick?" And he said, "I don't know, I've never done one." And I'm telling you that story because you can't do stuff enough. You need every day if possible. You want to get muscle memory, and the only way to get good muscle memory is to practice. Sometimes you're going to think you practice until you're dead, but you're still got to practice more. I practice every day, same techniques all the time. It's very, very important to repeat the proper technique as often as you can.
CT4 is a defense against a right punch and uses the same footwork as CT2. Let's see this technique before we have a partner. On her own, first thing she does, step forward, does a fan block, steps. She brings the cane between herself and the attacker, hooking the lower leg, stepping around, hooking. At this point, she'll pull the attacker down. Let's see this technique demonstrated with a partner. Throws a punch. She blocks, brings it between her and him, hooks this lower leg, stepping back, she would pull the leg out. Let's see it again. Go right ahead. Block between her and him, hooking the leg, pulling it out. One more time with the right hand. And turning into him. Good. Let's see this technique demonstrated with the left hand against the left punch. First motion, steps to the outside, blocking, bringing it between her and him, re-gripping and pulling the leg out. One more time. Block, switching the grip, hooking the lower leg, and pulling this leg out. And this is CT4.
This is a mock example of what this technique might look like in real life.
In this cane technique, you're going to be defending yourself against a right-hand punch towards your face. You're going to step out with a knife hand block. You're going to, at the same time, coming up between the legs. Make sure the tip is up. As you step through, your elbow is going to bend, so make sure you give it a good pop with the elbow, and then you have a chance to escape. Here goes. First demonstration. Nicely done. Let's do it again. Okay. Okay, hold it right there. You notice how he has his hand up high enough and blocks the person out of the way. The cane is in the proper position, so he has the elbow bent, so he has the pressure he can push against that leg, and the cane tip is high enough so it grabs the right part of the cane and gets him off balance. Okay, step through. Excellent. Other side. Okay, again. Okay, that was a defense against a right-hand punch.
Let's take a look at self-defense move CT6. First of all, let's look at it without a partner, because you want to practice this technique. You want the flow. Go right ahead. Blocking the punch, it's a left punch, with a fan block, and driving up, rotating the arm, which catches the arm, and go ahead, reach, grab, and bring down. Let's do it one more time. One more time without a partner. Go right ahead. And again, up, and grab, and rotate. Nice, very nicely done. All right, let's see it with a partner. Block, up, and all right, good. Let's do it again. A little faster. Block, catch, grab, and down. This is going to drive them to the ground. Again, there's the punch, block, and down. Let's see it on the other side. Let's see it with the left arm. Here's the right punch, block, up, and down. Now hold. Do you see the line in the control of the cane driving them to the ground? One more time. Very nice, thank you. That is CT6. These techniques do get a little more complicated, but you are learning a great deal of information. The more you practice, the smoother they will become.
CT7 is a defense against a bear hug. Let's see this technique first demonstrated without a partner. He's grabbed from behind. He's starting from the reverse crook grip. He pops the cane up and brings the horn and the crook down on the attacker's grip to break the grip. Steps forward with the lead leg, rotates his body towards his attacker, and does a double-handed jab to the solar plexus, followed by a takedown with the tip end of the cane. Let's see this demonstrated with a partner. He breaks the grip. Good. One more time. Double-handed jab and takedown. Let's see this from a front view. Good. And with the cane in the left hand now. Excellent job. And that is CT7. The crescent kick is a clearing technique, usually performed from a back. The attacker always steps forward to strike. First, step forward with the lead leg and execute a low strike. Come back to neutral, step forward with the reverse leg to execute move number 2, which is a low strike on the opposite side. So for the attacker, we have low strike, low strike. From the side view, the footwork is forward and back, forward and back. The defender always steps backwards to block. The first move for the defender is stepping back with the reverse leg to execute a low block. Come back to neutral and step back with the lead leg to execute a reverse low block. So for the defender, we have low block, low block. From the side view, the footwork, step back and up, step back and up. Those are the first two movements for both the attacker and the defender for the 8-point single-handed blocking drill. Now let's see how these look like practiced with a partner. I'm going to switch my cane to the cane that I use for drills. So I've switched my cane now to a cane that's safer to use for drills. It does not have a sharpened horn, which you should never use with a partner. The cane itself is one that I don't mind denting because you will be striking the other person's cane. And I've already checked the tip to make sure that it's secure. So are you ready with your cane?
Yes.
So I'll be playing the role of the defender. Mr. Stolick will be striking, so I'll be counting out the moves. 1, 2, again, 1, 2, and one more time. 1, 2, and those are the first two movements of the single-handed blocking drill.
Right now we're going to go over the first two movements of the double-handed drill set. The attacker for the double-handed drill set, the first two movements are the same as a single-handed drill set. You're going to step forward and do a low strike, step back, step forward and do a low strike to the opposite side. So the attacker goes 1 and 2. The defender is going to do a series of broom blocks. The defender is going to step back, do a broom block from one side to the other, come up, drop back with the other foot, and do a broom block to the other side. So the defender is going to go 1, and 2. Notice the feet alternate every single time. 1 and 2. Let's see this demonstrated with a partner. You'll want to notice the proper distance for doing the drills. Unlike self-defense, where we pair up an arm's length away, here we want about a cane's distance between us. As I am the defender, I will call off the technique so I can predict when they're coming. First move, 1. Broom block, 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. And those are the first 2 movements of the double-handed drill set.
You're about to move.
First move of Reflection 2 is a broom block swing strike. Stepping out with the back leg to the figure 8, knife hand block, punch, and a takedown technique. Notice here that the takedown technique is diagonally across the body, then there's a hand switch into a parry block, and at the top of the eye we have a center kick and a strike. A reverse high single-handed high block, a strike to the ribs, and then driving them away on both sides. Horse stance is seen in Reflection 2, going down the eye and up the eye. And the last move is similar to Reflection 1 with that knife hand block and strike. Repeating with the other side, the back leg is the foot that steps out after that first series of moves. Notice as she turns here, she rotates the cane to the outside of her arm in order to free it up for those figure 8 techniques. And then there's a strike to the back with the tip, the high block, the low kick, and the overhead strike. Striking to the ribs. Notice the angle of the cane on the strike. It's at a 45-degree angle. You don't need to overextend your wrist to try to make that happen. And then an open hand for that double-handed high block, rotating, and step backwards each time with this kata. From a side view, we'll clearly see the broom block into the head swing strike. Stepping out with the back leg immediately into a figure 8 that's chambered. And here we can see the position of the hands on that takedown technique. Stepping into a back stance for that parry block, grabbing it at the waist, and then pivoting in for that strike. Again, at the top, it's just a pivot into the stance, and then a turn with the back leg for the second stance. Front leg slides over, and there was a hand change to palm down. Low kick to the knee, overhead strike, back leg turns around to become the front leg, and then repeat with the left hand. Notice here as she turns at the bottom, the back leg slides over and she frees the cane at the same time in order to get the figure 8 into this series of moves. Hand change into that parry block. It's a low kick setting down and then the overhead strike. Pivoting for the block. And on the next stance change, the back leg slides over for the block. Hand change to palm down, and takedown technique. Low kick, overhead strike, back leg slides over, and on the last move, step back into chumbi. Each of these views allow you to see the subtleties of the stance changes and the transitions of the cane, such as the one coming up here for the figure 8. Notice how she rotates it to the outside of the arm, automatically setting it up. Notice how the hand changes here for the parry block, which is grabbed at the waist, for the strike from behind in a horse stance. Notice how the foot sets down and the cane sets up simultaneously. Notice here at the top that back leg slides over, and it's a 45-degree angle for the strike, and then a hand change into a back stance and a horse stance. A low strike, same as the top, and turning knife hand block and strike, stepping back. With the left hand, broom block, high strike, stepping out with the back leg. You'll notice as you practice Reflection 2 that there are certain steps that you want to take because you learned them that way in Reflection 1. Here, it's a step into a back stance moving forward, not a pivot like it was in Reflection 1. Again, pivot and block, strike to the ribs, and the double-handed jab. Notice here the hand transition, sliding over for a vertical block into that horse stance, pulling down to the hip. And on the last move, we have the knife hand block and low strike, switching hands directly to the crook, holstering it, and going into Chumbi.
Let's take a moment now and break down and look closely at some of the sequences within Reflections 2. Let's start right off, go right ahead. In the very beginning of the kata, after this move, you should end up in a right back stance. This left leg, the back leg, is going to be the one that steps. And it steps, go ahead. We've holstered the cane, step forward, there's the block, penetration. Left arm has gone into the chamber. Next move. The important thing here is the angle of the cane. Don't have it up here. It's right here. And it's because of the crook and where the crook is catching the imaginary attacker. If you'll turn around, let's do it facing this way. Go right ahead. All right, perfect. Watch the back leg. Go ahead. We've holstered the cane, step forward. There's the block, penetration. Notice the left hand. All right, the left hand is in the chamber. The next move, this particular line is important. Keep that in mind because it is this that is coming down on the imaginary attacker and is controlling the situation. In Reflections 2, there's a couple of sequences that you should keep in mind, specific small things, such as at this point, prior to the hard parry block, a lot of people will let go with this hand to re-grip the cane. Don't do that. Slide your hand down, re-gripping, never losing contact with the cane and your right hand. Step, do the hard parry block. The next move, go ahead, and the next. Now, the next move is going to involve, go ahead, a kick. As you recock the kick, set yourself up for the strike. You know you're going to do the strike. You can set yourself up as you drop into that right front stance. Let's do that kick one more time. There's the block, the kick, and the setup as he drops back. Now the next move, go right ahead. You turn and you block. They may have something in their hand. It may be a stick. It may be a cane. And you block it. The next move is around. This is to their floating ribs. Don't overextend this like this. You're going to torque your wrist out. Their body is right here. From here, go ahead. It's penetration. Watch this. He is going to turn and block. He swings it around. See where the ribs are. See the angle of the cane to the arm. It sets him right up. Go right ahead for the penetration. All right. Keep those factors in mind regarding Reflections 2. We're now going to take a look at practical application for Reflections 2. Unlike Reflections 1, we are not going to explain to you each time we move the attack-defender structure. You should know that by the I or T pattern of the kata itself. This is simply the practical application of what is taking place. So let's look at Reflections 2. The first move is a block against a kick and a strike to the head. They shift their positions. The next move, this figure 8 tends to keep the attacker away. As they see an opening, hold right there. We have a knife hand block, a counter with a vertical straight punch. From that, go ahead, up in the crook to the scapula, bringing them down. She's going to rotate and execute the same move to this attacker on the other side. Very nice. In Reflections 2, now we're going to attacker 4 and 5. I'm going to move her to an angle for better view for you. The very first thing she's going to do before the attacker even arrives, she's going to switch her grip because she sees them coming, and they are reaching to grab. This blocks the grab, go right ahead, spins around, strike to the spine, drives the attacker out. Number 5 comes in. This person was going to strike them while they were being held. We do a high block, kick to the knee, bringing them down, strike to the head. That's attacker 4 and 5. In this kata, the next attacker, attacker 6 and 7, are not coming at you empty-handed. That's why we talk about staying alert and being aware of your surroundings. Your eyes lead your head, and your head leads your body. You should not be turning blindly with an empty hand block if the other person is using a weapon. The next 2 attackers are coming at you with a stick. Whether it's a stick, a baseball bat, a club of any kind, you want to be using your cane to block. So let's get in your last position but facing this angle. All right, that was attacker 5. We're going for attacker 6. He comes in, go. There's the block because she looked before she moved. Floating rib strike and penetration and driving this attacker out. Turns and does the same thing to number 7. In Reflections 2, we have 3 more attackers. Attacker number 8, 9, and 10. So let's turn, all right, Miss Jessie around, and let's have attacker 8 come in. It's a reach and grab. She steps into a horse stance and drops them. That's attacker number 8. Right behind him is the person that wanted to strike. You've seen this move before, high block, kick to the knee, strike to the head. That attacker's gone. The 10th attacker comes up from behind. Knife hand block, strike to the knee. Very nice. Those are the 10 attackers in Reflections 2 and the scenarios for the execution of the moves of that kata. It has again been a pleasure working with Grandmaster Shuey and having Eric Stolick and Lynn Jessie help us present to you the information and the techniques to improve your skill and competency at this particular video series level. You should now be moving on to the level 3 in this series. This level will be giving you more information and more skills and competencies towards earning your black belt in the American Cane system. Some of the techniques and information will be visually seen behind the credits of this level as they roll.